Welcome in. This is Melissa Hart with the DAT Extra Podcast, all about the Music City Celebration Sale, otherwise known as the Nashville Sale. I recently sat down with Chris Hill and Tim Abbott, and we talked all things Nashville. A lot is happening over the weekend. The big sale is on Monday, December 11th. But before that, there are a lot of activities going on. Here's my visit with Chris and Tim. I saw that we're going to have a Red and White Dairy Cattle Association meeting, happy hour. Tell us about that, Chris.
Actually, Nicholas got a hold of Tim, and he's the president of Red and White, about being a part of our weekend in Nashville. And we said, we'd be happy to fit you in. Now, they're doing their own PowerPoint for the nominations on Sunday, and they're going to be shared along with the jerseys and the black and whites. However, I believe they're going to have a meeting at Alan Jackson's from like 2 to 2:45, like a membership meeting for all those who do make the trip to Nashville. And then from 2:45 on, Tim has lined up entertainment there on the, I believe it's the second floor, just for us. And it's going to be a private party sponsored by RWDCA. And I believe it's till 6. Is that right, Tim?
Yep, that's it. You got it. It's our music that afternoon will be Sarah Montgomery, who's played for us at this event for years, and Tim Teague, the guitarist. They will do kind of an acoustic show so people can listen to music, but also visit. The only thing, Chris, I think it's going to be third floor, the Alan Jackson.
You're right, where we used to have the sale, correct?
Yeah, Whole Billy Bar up there by Alan Jackson's boat. And yeah, so we got a little more room up there. You know, I think there's going to be festivities all afternoon. It kind of doors open at 2, and they'll shut her down at 6 so people can go out and do as they wish.
That's great. I'm glad that the Red and Whites are getting in on that. I know that obviously Red and White genetics are booming, and so it's great that they're able to come in and get in on and just host a social hour, host some time to talk. I know there's some topics that they want to cover, so it's good that they're going to get in on that. Hopefully they'll recruit some new membership for their association as well at that social hour. And of course, you know, you can't beat anybody singing in Nashville, so that sounds like a great idea. But I didn't realize that they were going to be announcing their nominations the next day. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so we've added that to the day. Melissa, one of the things that they really were excited about was getting in on the action because the Holstein and Jersey nominations through Cosmo has become so popular and so well watched that they really wanted to try to get their schedule to fit ours. So as Chris indicated, they're getting their nominations. I think they're meeting this week as well. They're going to have their nominations ready on a PowerPoint to present. We'll do it Facebook Live and live there at the show. And we're over the moon thinking that we're going to have 3 of the bigger breeds all represented to announce the nominations. Chris and I are working on the plan for that. We've had a lot of fun with it, Melissa, in the past, getting people up to announce and all that. But you know, through feedback we've gotten at home, people like it a little tighter and a little crisper maybe than that. And so I think we're gonna be pretty clear and concise on how we do it. We'll have a panel of 3 people introducing all the nominations from a breed. They'll go up on PowerPoint. They'll have pictures of them, hopefully both on Facebook Live and there in the venue. So it should be fun. And I think the way we're planning it, Melissa, is the order will be Jersey announcements from Cosmo, Red and White announcements from Red and White Association, and then Holstein announcements from Cosmo, starting at 1:30. And our goal is to have them all done by 3:30.
So what are we doing at 3:30 then? I mean, that's not the end of the party, I hope.
Yeah, so then the party gets going. Actually, Jennifer and Sharon are working as we speak to organize some food. One thing we're telling people, Melissa, is Nashville veterans that we all are, food is
and pay
important.
attention, because this has changed from the original schedule, but it all makes more sense.
You know, we love to have fun, and there's sometimes a beer or 2 cracked at the event. And one thing that's hard, and I've got experience, Melissa, with this, you need to eat during the day. Otherwise, you can end up on a sled back to your hotel. And so we're working hard at trying to prepare people. But But basically the Sunday schedule, Melissa, so many of us get up Sunday morning and go to Legends and see our friend Lefty Ferguson and his band. They perform. It's public, but it's a great show, and it'll be just full of cow people. There'll be 200 cow people there, and we'll take over the place. Then we're really suggesting people go find some food. There's a new food court just across from Legends with all kinds of nice food that's fairly fast. There's Jack's Barbecue along the way. There's, sub shops. There's pizza shops. We suggest before you come to the All-American event, you grab a little lunch, get some grub in your tum, and then we'll do the announcements. And then Jen and Sharon are organizing some snacks and food for there, just light refreshments for 3:30, 4 o'clock. And then the same group that played last year, Tim Angston from Wisconsin, Timmy Baumgartner from Ohio, and Casey Johns from Mississippi. They're a trio that plays, and they're fantastic, and they'll play from 3:30, 4 o'clock until 8 o'clock right there at the same venue. And then people are free to go on their own after that event. But we'll have dancing and music and lots of camaraderie. And so that's the Sunday schedule, Melissa.
Now, one thing that I did notice on Facebook and in the catalog is something that I had not remembered being part of your celebration, and that's the Great Maple Syrup Tasting Contest. I think we need to know all about that.
Well, and I got to take the lead on this because being a Vermonter, Melissa, I have to take the lead. So last year we had a really fun time. We've got a lot of friends in the cattle business that make maple syrup, and we kind of been joking. Our great friends Jeff and Shannon Kane from Vermont come to Nashville every year, and they have an ongoing battle with the Ackleys and with Mary Eve from Quebec on who makes the best syrup. So we just decided last year we'd let the people decide. So we came up with this great idea to have a maple syrup tasting contest and raise money. Last year we raised money for Annette Ostrom's Dairy Cares Fund, and we made a lot of money. We basically charged people, I think we charged them $20 or a donation to be part of the contest. You get to sample all the syrup, a blind taste test, put your votes in, and then at the end of the day, we'll announce the 3 winners, and we will auction off the syrup from each, a quart of syrup from each of these people that have donated the syrup. So last year we had 4 entries, and I might mention Vermont did win that with a blind taste test. Even the people from Quebec and Ohio picked Vermont, Melissa, but I'm not bragging. I'm just saying.
Okay.
But this year, Sharon was just telling me that she thinks at this point we have at least 1 entry from Quebec, maybe 2, 1 or 2 entries from Ontario, a Wisconsin entry, an Ohio entry, a couple Massachusetts entries, a Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont entry, a New York entry. So it's going to be a blast. It's actually really come together nice. So it's going to be a fun thing going on while we're doing the All-Americans, Melissa. And then, Chris, we're going to give the money this year in honor of 3 great friends of Chris and mine to National Dairy Shrine in their name. So, Chris, just mentioned the plan for that.
The plan for that is we're going to raise all we can, and it will go to the Dairy Shrine in the names of Michael Heath, Ronnie Hefner, and Norman Hill. 3 guys that we all knew and loved and did a lot for our breeds, not just one breed, but all the breeds. And it will go in honor of them straight to the Dairy Shrine.
It'll be a fun event in the afternoon. There'll be a lot of trash talking and syrup. The other thing is we're potentially going to work with the bar to create a maple syrup drink of the day, Melissa.
Oh, hey, yeah.
That could be quite a celebrated event.
Yes.
It's become a fun thing. We raise money in great people's names, and it just adds to the fun of the weekend.
It really does. And people are going to have to pace themselves with regular beverages. Now they're going to have to pace themselves with the sugar high, because that will be a lot of fun to go through all of. You named off probably 10, right? At least. How fun is that going to be? Oh my gosh, that's going to be so much fun. I'm so into that.
I agree.
That is true.
Oh.
Didn't realize that. But anyway, we'll make it work. We always do.
And I think, getting people on a sugar high at 4 or 5 o'clock that afternoon, that's about when a lot of those old people start taking naps. And shoot, Melissa, if you get Bobby to get a sample of all those surfs, he might make it up till 8 o'clock then.
He might. I know. As we get older, we all understand that just a little bit better. Anyway.
We're going to have a sale, too.
Yeah, I know.
That's when we want them on that sugar high.
So, Melissa, the other thing we want our friends coming to the event to know, watch Facebook and email. Chris and Jen and Sharon and I put out a newsletter with all kinds of information on places to go, restaurants to go to, venues to go see, and then music that we know of that's in town. So we do a newsletter for all the people going. There'll be copies at the main hotel, the Hyatt. But there's also, that'll be on Facebook, and it'll also be sent via email to a lot of our consigners and our friends that are going. And it just gives you a nice guide to what's going on for the day and where you'll probably run into people. People have reached out to us and said that's very helpful because, Melissa, one thing that I've been told by my musician friends in Nashville, since we were there last year, 7 new venues with 3 floors of music have all opened downtown. Everybody from Hank Williams Jr. to Garth Brooks, his place, I heard rumor, was opening at least 1 floor on Black Friday. There are 7 new places with 3 floors of music, so 21 new music spots on Broadway downtown. So it's an ever-changing atmosphere down there. And Chris, put your 2 cents in about crowds and how you see it all going down for the weekend, because I think it's valuable.
Well, I think, first of all, for the first-timers that are coming, if you fly in, one rule we've always used is that you don't get a car, because if you're staying downtown, you can Uber basically anywhere you want to go, and you're going to end up paying to park just about as much as the motel costs. So our thoughts are not to rent a car, because you can go wherever you want on foot. And if you want to go, say you want to go to Opryland or something like that to see the lights at Dollywood, just take an Uber. That's so much easier. But, when you get there if you get there on Sunday morning, you might get a little bit overwhelmed by the lines, but mainly the lines are at the really, really, really famous places. And just keep in mind that Saturday will be the busiest day with our group, and then Sunday there's a little less, and then Monday it's basically a free-for-all. So don't get depressed when you see all the lines. Just find a place that doesn't have one, and you'll have just as much fun. So they tell us between Thanksgiving and Christmas it's the best time to go because there's not so many lines. And, of course, we always get our weekends always when there's not a home game for the Titans, and that frees up quite a bit of space as well.
I remember the first time I went to the sale, that's exactly what it was. There just wasn't very many people at all, which was really nice because, like you said, you could go in anywhere and listen to great music and go into the next place. You didn't have to fight for a place to sit or nothing. It was fantastic. I mean, parking was
and there's no
easy.
cover charges, and you can you can bounce around like a ping pong ball, and it doesn't cost you anything to go into the different establishments.
Yeah, I loved that. I am finding it hard to believe that in that little stretch of street you can have 21 new places. That's unbelievable, is it?
21 new different floors, and you change the bands. What is it, Tim? 3 times a day or 4?
Yeah, 3 times a day. Every 4 hours they switch them out. Or I'm sorry, it's actually many of them are 4 times a day. You go for 16 hours. There, a lot of them are open. And Melissa, I think on Broadway, I think the number, this was before all these new ones, I think the number was somewhere around 300 music venues just on the strip in Broadway. Of different floors, venues that you can see music at, live music.
It's hard to believe.
And another thing I didn't cover is when you go, they don't have cover charge, but they do have the tip jars. So if you're going for the first time, take a lot of 1s and take a lot of 5s.
Chris, let me talk just a little about the schedule again. It seems like I'm the schedule guy, Melissa, but
you are. You're the cruise ship director. You have to have a cruise ship.
And then we'll talk about consignments. But Melissa, on Monday, we really are encouraging folks again to get yourself some breakfast before you go in. There's so many great spots to get breakfast. At the main hotel at the Hyatt, there's a great breakfast, but right across the street has gone in a place Great breakfast place. There's always the diner you can get breakfast at. There's a place up the hill that's got a great breakfast venue. But we're suggesting people get some breakfast before they come in on Monday. Our doors will open at 11 for the stage. Announcements will start at 11:15. Sale will be going at 11:30. As soon as the sale's done, again, we have entertainment there. A couple fun things planned during the sale, but we have a band that's never played for us before, but some good friends of ours that are in the band, a band called The Headlights. And these guys are all musicians that have been on the road with big name country acts that have formed a little band to play on Broadway. So the guys have played for everybody from Shenandoah to Colin Ray to Doug Stone to Phil Vassar. These four guys are as good as we've ever seen, so we can't wait for everybody to hear them, and you'll love their music. So, and that will start. We'll have pizza that afternoon for people to keep everybody full, and we've got that venue rented until 8:00. So, last thing on schedules, Melissa and Chris, we spend a lot of time, money, and effort to make sure that we've got our own venues, because Chris talked about bars and crowded places. Each day there, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, our event has rented one floor of a major establishment just for our people. So that's one of the things people love, Melissa, is people can you don't have to go battle crowds. You can come hear great music and have a great camaraderie at the event. So now let's talk about the sale, Chris. Sorry.
There's a lot to be said about the sale. I think we have basically all the breeds covered. I don't think we didn't have any shorthorns this year, but we have the other 6 breeds are covered, and I think they're covered pretty good. I mean, the catalog speaks for itself. We have daughters of Grand, Reserve, and Honorable Mention of every major show in the country, along with a few Expo winners. And the catalog, it speaks for itself. We just are very, very thankful that the consigners open the door like they do. And that might have a little bit to do with the time of the year, but I think out of all 52 weeks in the year, you couldn't choose a better weekend to have this kind of sale.
And Chris, I would, rather than singling a lot out, I would encourage people to go to the catalog and look. As you said, most every champion, intermediate champion, reserve grand champion of all the breeds have a representative in there. And that's powerful. But along with that, so many of the top name genetic cows in the type world are represented. A lot of the greatest cow families, the 97-point cows in every breed are represented. I can't think of many stones we weren't able to kick over, Chris. And I think the lineup goes from high type numbers to great pedigrees to show winners. And Chris, what about stuff for next year? Is there going to be anything that can go to the shows that we're selling?
Quite a few. It's just incredible. As you go through the catalog, you always find another one that you fall in love with. And oftentimes, we try to stack the catalog up, Melissa, how we like to do it with a sale order, because we start at number 1, and of course everybody knows we go right through the catalog. So, for instance, we have, I think there's a dozen family members of Shakira. Well, we don't want to sell 12 Shakiras in a row, so actually we have split that family up in 3 different places in the catalog, just, to keep the excitement going. And from number 1 to number 92, we think we'll have everybody on their toes paying attention, and Lord, we hope we do, because it's just, there's animals in the back of the catalog that could start any sale in the country, and we feel very fortunate that we have consigners work with us as well as they do. So, and again, without singling anything out, we have the best of the best.
Do, and the choices and the flushes and all of that offers, and the live lots offers something that people can get their hands on now, people that can get their hands on in the spring. I'm sitting here sifting through it and looking at the Jersey lots in the middle of the catalog and thinking, this is selling in the middle, like choices out of Diva and just crazy great consignments. And the nice thing about this is, like you said, you got all the breeds in there. Maybe shorties will come in next year. You'll find somebody that'll give something up out of the shorthorn breed next year, and so you can include them all, hopefully. But, the better end of all of the breeds are really great. And I don't know about you guys, but covered a lot of shows in the last 10 years, and you've only seen some of those other breeds, the color breeds that aren't quite so big, you've only seen them get really, really good. And the genetic progress that they've made, you can see it in your catalog.
The progress those breeds have made, Melissa, you referenced that, and I think it's critical because they've taken those breeds to a level that the people with other breeds want to be involved too, because the stakes have become higher and the genetics are better and the cattle are better. And I reference this all the time. We're not in a one breed business anymore, Melissa. 20 years ago, you were a Holstein breeder or a Jersey breeder. Now you're a cattle breeder. And I think it's a blast to be able to own Guernseys and Ayrshires and Swiss and Jerseys and Holsteins and red and white, all in the same. You see them in the same string, you see them in the same barn, and you see them in the same promotional pieces. We're not 7 individual breeds. We are one industry, and that's what Nashville has really proven. And I think, Chris, you would echo these thoughts in that we're going to have lots that bring 15,000 and 25,000 and 50,000 probably. But there are always those lots in this sale that bring $5,000 and $6,000. And I can make a list of people that have bought stuff between $4,000 and $7,000, Chris, that have done extremely well, either reselling them in the spring, getting a great calf from a choice of flush, getting something that maybe because the water's so deep there. I guess what I always want to say is I think people are shocked that anybody can afford to buy anything there. Sure, I mean, there's going to be high flyers, but Chris, would you agree?
Absolutely. You can, from lot 60 to lot 90, that's when the cow people really start paying attention, and they try to cherry pick. And I know several people that have done it in the past. Sometimes we sell a lot of heifers that are ready to IVF, and they picked them off and they took them home and they've IVF'd them 2-3 times, already got a beautiful picture of them, sell them in the spring or summer, get their money back, and their embryos are their profits. And, not to mention all the IVF sessions we have selling, out of like maybe 2 of the most famous young cows that are out this year, to single a few out, being Bally and Joey Rosa's cow. And if you get 8-10 embryos out of them 2 cows, just think how well you're sitting no matter what you pay. So there's so many opportunities. So just pay attention, be with us for a while. And when you come Monday, just like Tim said, come into that place with your belly full, have a ball, pay attention at the sale, and we'll send you home full pizza.
And that's the thing. There's got to be you can pick out the good ones here and there and that you want to take home and show or whatever. But some of these, you've really got to do some long-range strategic planning on what you're going to do, what you're going to buy, what you're going to choose, how you're going to breed them, what you're going to breed them to. That is some strategic planning that people need to be doing now as they go through the catalog to see what they can afford, where they're at, what their price range is, and what they might want to do with that individual. And that, it's more than just looking through the catalog and saying, oh, she'd be fun to buy. It's like, okay, if I spend this much here, then I got to invest this much in flushing or this much in IVFing, and then I can get it back. But it's a long range plan. It's not something that you're going to flip fast.
Actually, 3 of, and I do want to mention these 3, the 3 genomic IVF sessions that we have, 2 Holsteins and 1 Brown Swiss. They're out of number 1 cows. We have IVF sessions out of the number 1 red/RC cow in the world. Yep. We have IVF session out of the number 1 old type cow in the world. And we have IVF session out of the number 1 PPR Brown Swiss cow in the world. And they're not just freaks either. They all got full pedigrees to back them up. And that's, for this sale, that's what we're really proud of. And hats off to Kijo, who helped secure these 2 Holstein consignments, and Tim that got the Brown Swiss one. I think these 3 genomic offerings are just tremendous. Tim?
Yeah, I would agree. We talk about all the type lots, but these 3 genomic ones are, somebody buys these sessions. I'm not mistaken, Chris, one of the IVF sessions on Hulu's Dam. I don't know that there's a more exciting bull right now than Hulu. And, that's where it comes from. And the Brown Swiss breed, Kylie Cannell's cow family is dominating the top of all the lists, but not just with numbers, with great cows. And, this is the kind of thing, Melissa, you buy and you make a bull calf that can be hundreds of thousands of dollars in income to you down the road. So Melissa, your point about strategy, this is a sale to strategize on. And I don't want to compare it to a Hanover Hill sale or some of the great breeding establishments. But when you went to Hanover Hill for their sale, you didn't go on a fly that you were going to come home with something. You went with a strategy and you lined them up. And I told a guy the other day, what if you took the mutual fund approach and bought the 6 cheapest lots in this sale? Maybe they're going to average $5,000 a piece. You invest $25,000-$30,000 in 6 lots of the greatest cows of the world. It would probably be the best investment you could make anywhere. But my point to what you said, Melissa, is strategy. Go in there. It may be buying the top seller. It may be buying 4 of the mediums, or it may just be buying that one that you can afford that can change your herd. And I truly believe, I think every lot in this sale, I could make a case that could change somebody's breeding establishment.
And it only takes one. You don't have to buy a herd. It only takes one. And carefully selected and developed well. Yeah. So how hard was it to get some of these consignments? I mean, the Nashville sale has had a reputation, 7 years in the making, of doing really well, of having those fall show superstars in it. Obviously, all breeds, you've kind of gained that momentum with all breeds. How hard was it to get some of these consignments for this sale? Did people say, gosh, that's a great sale and I'm very comfortable offering this? Or were they like, did you have to do some arm twisting?
Without mentioning any names, some of them were a little longer getting in, but it was well worth it. But what, Tim? I'd say 70% are simple to get.
I was going to laugh, Chris, and say, honestly, Melissa, there's no stress of getting them. It's turning them away.
The hardest part is saying no.
I think we turned away as many as came our way, Melissa, this year. And we really feel bad about that. And the week that we were closing the catalog, I know Chris and I turned 6 or 7 lots away that would have been top 10 lot in any sale Chris and I do all year. And we had to turn them away because we'd already made commitments to other consigners. And so I guess, my point is these are the best of the best. And obviously we ask people and we tell them we want their best. But I would say, Chris, we do very, very, very little arm twisting.
That's fact.
And that's what we love about it, because, we do make all our consigners a promise. And that's that I'm going to read their pedigree and Chris is going to run the gavel and we're going to sell them. Right. That's the promise we make.
Well, the success of the sale speaks for itself, honestly. It's just like, any convention sale. The reputation of a convention sale has always been one of that's pretty exclusive, and it doesn't matter what breed it is. It's an exclusive sale that you feel honored to have a consignment in, and this is getting to be, or is, obviously, if you're turning consignments away, this is that sale again. I'm not saying that convention sales they've gone downhill. I think that convention sales have just as much prestige now as they used to, but obviously this sale is one of those that people want to be in because people are going to go. Have you tripled? Have you quadrupled the number of people that are coming to this sale in person? Because, we can all get on Cowbuyer. We don't have to go to Nashville. But I feel like you've really increased the number of people in attendance.
Our prediction is it would not shock me if there were 250 to 300 people at this event. And just in the numbers, Melissa, that you referenced, Chris, remember the first year we did this, to get a good rate on the hotel, we had to guarantee the hotel 20 rooms, that our people would use 20 rooms. And we had to guarantee Alan Jackson's bar a certain bar tab that night.
Mm-hmm.
Chris and I had some sleepless nights saying,
we were on pins and needles.
Is the Alliance going to, have to write big checks to make this thing work? And we took the risk. And from that year of having 150 people, I really think at the events We have over 100 rooms gone, Melissa, at the one hotel, at the Hyatt Place Hotel. That's kind of our headquarters. I know the rooming list has 100 rooms booked that we know of. And people book Airbnbs. Sharon started sending people the Holiday Inn Express that we had 25 rooms at, and I think they're down to just a half dozen rooms left in our block. So I'm guessing there's 150 rooms booked in our name in Nashville already.
I think it goes back to, I know we've talked about this in previous podcasts, but I think some of this goes back to the camaraderie that you mentioned. I know that when I left the convention sale in Lexington, Kentucky, the night of that sale, we had the sale at that really nice horse facility, and then you had brought entertainment in, and not a ton of people stayed for that entertainment. A lot of them went. Of course, there's a lot of people at the convention. So, but those people that stayed had such a good time. I stood there and I watched camaraderie of people mixing with each other and having just a ball that I've never seen together before. And just a totally different mix of people. And I still feel like that was such a great night all the way to the end, because we all just hung out, and some of us danced and some of us just watched other people dance. And it was a really good feeling outside of a show, outside of a sale. It was just relaxing and enjoyable. And I think that's what Nashville does. It brings people together in a relaxed atmosphere where they can just enjoy being together, not hyped up at a show, not worried about the work, not worried about having to water something or feed something or the competition the next day. It's just togetherness, and we need that in this industry.
Everybody's on the same level when you get down there, and that's one of the greatest parts of the whole deal.
And when we hear the Hills and the Abbotts, all the work we put into this, and all the people that help us, when we hear people say just that, Melissa, that I keep going back to, examples, but, Kylie Cannell Chittenden from Vermont that has Brown Swiss told me last year after the event, she couldn't believe the Holstein and Jersey people she got to know. She knew the Swiss people there, but she never found the opportunity to talk to these people. And when you're sitting at these events, listening to music and dancing and laughing, you don't have a Brown Swiss corner and a Jersey corner and a Shorthorn corner. And everybody's there together, and that there's something magic about that. And totally. Really, the only thing we have in this business is each other. And to be able to learn from each other, like I think we do at Nashville, good and bad, it makes it great.
It's just that connection. And then it makes that next year when they see each other at a show, now you're saying hi to people that you never said hi to. Or you're stopping and talking to somebody, or sharing a joke, or, an inside joke with somebody that you never talked to before or didn't feel comfortable talking to. It's just, you're right. It just brings everybody together. It's several levels. It's a great venue. It's a great sale. It's a great event for the dairy industry. I would agree.
And we need the help of everyone, Melissa, and certainly this podcast helps. But Chris has got a vision. He either wants to get Bridgestone Arena, where all the big country music festivals are, or just shut down Broadway and just have an all cow day at Nashville. So someday,
NFL draft.
Yeah, someday we're going to shut down the whole street and just have it cow sale stuff. So we need everybody to get fired up for this.
That would be fun. We could do this. We could certainly drink enough. I'm sure of that.
I will say, if you ask the musicians and the bartenders now about Cow Sale Monday, they reference it as Cow Sale Weekend.
Really?
And we'll have 100 people run into a bar to see a band or see some of our buddies. And that changes the atmosphere pretty fast.
Yeah.
It's really neat when you go to a place like Moonshiners, which is just a touch bigger than a shoebox, and then all of us are in there have the same. We all have something in common in the whole place. Bootleggers, yes, I'm sorry. Barely the size of a shoebox, and we go in there and just have a ball.
And Janet, the bartender in there, she knows when it's Cow Sale Weekend. It's funny how many of the bartenders work their schedule to make sure cow sale weekend. They'll reach out to us and say, "What's cow sale weekend this year?" Because we want to make sure we're on. I just found out from our bartender at Legends, where they make the great Bloody Marys, Amanda's ordered an extra Bloody Mary mix.
So what else do we have to talk about with the sale? I feel like we've covered all four corners of it, and without singling out any consignments, what else are we missing for the Nashville sale? We went through that.
Oh, yeah. The main thing is if they follow Facebook and Snapchat, they'll see every single consignment advertised at least once, and if not more. And the consigners, if they get us the information, we get it out.
That's Chris Hill and Tim Abbott talking all things Nashville. The Music City Celebration Sale is Monday, December 11th. The catalog is online. Cow Buyer is providing online bidding. Check out all of those details on the right side of the homepage in that featured sales list, or by clicking on the Music City Celebration Sale banner ad. This is Melissa Hart with the DAT Extra Podcast. Listen to this on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts or on our YouTube page. I hope you have a great day. We'll see you next time.